Chosen one. Listen carefully. There are moments in history that are not measured by clocks, but by consciousness. Moments when something invisible shifts inside the human mind, and that shift quietly separates those who will rise from those who will repeat. This Sunday is not about a calendar date. It is about an internal threshold. It is about the moment you stop thinking like the 99% and begin thinking like the 1%. Not just financially, but neurologically, spiritually, biologically. This is about identity. Stay with me until the very end of this message, and when you do, write your warmest wishes in the comments and write 99, because your words carry energy and what you release now will return to you. And if you feel this message is for you, stay connected to this space so you don't miss what comes next. Chosen one, understand something the masses rarely understand. The 1% is not first created in bank accounts. It is first formed in the nervous system, in the spine, in the breath, in the way your brain processes uncertainty. Most people try to chase money while their internal frequency still vibrates in fear. The 1% adjusts their internal state before they ever touch external wealth. This Sunday symbolizes a neurological crossing. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This verse was never just religious poetry. It is instruction. Renewal means rewiring. The brain operates on patterns. Thought patterns create emotional patterns. Emotional patterns create behavioral patterns. And behavioral patterns create financial patterns. If you do not renew the mind, you cannot renew the income. The 1% understands that money is stored energy, and energy responds to clarity, not chaos. When you breathe deeply, your vagus nerve activates. Your heart rate stabilizes, your blood pressure aligns. When your body is calm, your decisions become precise. When your decisions become precise, opportunities become visible. The 99% reacts. The 1% observes. Chosen one, you have felt this difference before. You have noticed that you think differently, that you question more deeply, that you sense patterns others ignore, that you see risk not as danger but as calculation. This is not ego, this is awareness, and awareness is the doorway to wealth. But here is the hidden truth. Most people sabotage their entrance into the 1% because they do not shift their identity. They want millionaire results with employee self-concepts. They want expansion while secretly fearing responsibility. Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Notice, it does not say, "as a man earns." It says, "as he thinks in his heart." The heart and brain communicate electrically. Your heart produces an electromagnetic field stronger than the brain. If your heart vibrates insecurity, your external world mirrors limitation. If your heart vibrates certainty, your external world begins to reorganize. This Sunday is not magic. It is alignment. Now I will give you the first sacred process. It is called the Spine of Authority ritual. Tonight, before sleep, sit upright, spine straight, chin slightly down. Place your right hand on your chest and your left hand on your lower abdomen. Breathe in slowly for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Release for 6 seconds. Do this for 7 cycles. While breathing, say internally, "I do not chase wealth. I become the type of person wealth trusts." Feel the vibration in your chest. That warmth is not imagination. It is blood flow. It is oxygen. It is presence. The 1% trains their nervous system to remain regulated under pressure. You cannot handle millions if you collapse under thousands. Chosen one, this is the part most people will never understand. They think wealth is greed. They think ambition is ego. But 1 Timothy 6:17 instructs the wealthy not to be arrogant, but to place hope not in riches. Yet it does not condemn wealth itself. Wealth is neutral. It magnifies the internal structure of the person holding it. If your structure is fear, wealth magnifies fear. If your structure is clarity, wealth magnifies clarity. This is why this Sunday matters symbolically. It is a decision point, not to join the 1% randomly, but to begin embodying the psychological architecture of the 1%. The 1% thinks long-term. The 1% invests in skills. The 1% studies patterns. The 1% regulates emotion. The 1% protects focus. And focus is where most people lose. Attention is currency. Where your attention goes, your life compounds. Matthew 25 speaks of the talents, resources multiplied by those who stewarded them wisely. This was never only about coins. It was about capacity. If you multiply what you are given, knowledge, discipline, time, you enter expansion. Chosen one, you were never meant to think small. You feel discomfort in mediocrity. That discomfort is not arrogance. It is misalignment. Your nervous system was not designed for stagnation. It was designed for growth. But growth requires separation, not from people, but from patterns. This Sunday, as others scroll endlessly, you will sit quietly and ask yourself a different question. What identity must I release to access the next level? Because the 1% does not merely earn differently, they decide differently, they breathe differently, they process differently. And here is the mirror effect truth. The moment you begin thinking like the 1%, circumstances start adjusting in subtle ways. New conversations, new ideas, new connections, not instantly dramatic, but gradually undeniable. Most people won't notice this shift. They will call it luck. You will call it alignment. Chosen one, your brain is plastic. Your habits are programmable. Your identity is expandable, but only if you choose it consciously. This is not about superiority. This is about responsibility. If more disciplined, conscious, ethical people refuse to pursue wealth, who fills that vacuum? Those without restraint. The world does not need more reckless money. It needs regulated minds with resources. And that is why this message feels personal, because something inside you recognizes it. Something in your chest tightens when you hear 1%. Not out of envy, but out of recognition. You do not want excess for display. You want capacity for impact. This Sunday is not the finish line. It is the internal declaration. I am ready to think at the level my future requires. And when that declaration stabilizes in your spine, in your breath, in your heart rhythm, the external world begins to respond, not because you demanded it, but because you matched it. Part 2 will go deeper into the financial frequency shift, how belief structures alter risk tolerance, income ceilings, and opportunity perception in ways most people never consciously examine. Stay steady. The transmission continues. Chosen one, the shift does not announce itself loudly. It does not arrive with fireworks or applause. It begins in silence, in the way your mind processes possibility when others see limitation. This is where the financial frequency truly separates the 1% from the 99%. Most people think income is a number. The 1% understands income is a reflection of internal capacity. Capacity is not about talent alone. It is about how much uncertainty your nervous system can tolerate without collapsing. When pressure increases, the average mind tightens. Breath shortens. Shoulders rise. Thoughts fragment. Decisions become reactive. But the 1% trains for expansion under pressure. This is not fantasy. It is biological. When your breath is steady, your prefrontal cortex, the decision-making center, remains active. When fear dominates, the amygdala hijacks reasoning. That is why most people sell in panic and buy in emotion. They are neurologically overrun. You must understand this. Wealth flows toward regulated systems. Psalm 112:7 says, "They will have no fear of bad news. Their hearts are steadfast, trusting. Notice the emphasis on steadiness, not denial, not ignorance. Steadfastness, a calm heart under pressure. Chosen one, this is your next activation. The 1% does not avoid risk. They assess it. They do not react emotionally. They analyze structurally. And this requires a shift in how you perceive money itself. Money is not security. Money is amplification. If you believe money will save you, you will fear losing it. If you understand money expands what you already are, you will build the internal foundation first. This is where most people never cross the threshold. They attempt to accumulate before they stabilize. Ecclesiastes 10:10 says, "If the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed." The dull axe is an untrained mind. The sharpened edge is disciplined focus. You do not swing harder, you refine sharper. Now I will give you the second sacred process. It is called the ceiling audit. Tonight or tomorrow morning, write down the highest monthly income you secretly believe is realistic for you. Not what you wish, what you believe. Then ask yourself, why that number? Where did that ceiling originate? Family conditioning, cultural messaging, past failure, fear of visibility, fear of responsibility. Most financial ceilings are inherited beliefs, not personal limitations. When you identify the ceiling, sit quietly, close your eyes, visualize doubling it. Notice what emotion rises. Excitement or tension. That tension reveals your current identity limit. The 1% repeatedly expands identity before expanding revenue. You are not meant to chase the number. You are meant to stretch the internal container. And here is the subtle truth most never hear. The 1% invests more in self-education than self-indulgence. They upgrade skills. They study leverage. They think in assets, not expenses. They calculate time differently. While others consume distractions, the 1% compounds competence. Chosen one, this is not about arrogance. It is about stewardship. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." This is not just about morality. It is about psychological reliability. If you cannot manage small responsibilities with focus, larger ones will fracture you. That is why this Sunday symbolizes discipline, not dramatic change. Disciplined alignment. When you wake up before touching your phone, place your hand over your heart. Again, breathe slowly. Ask yourself, what decision today aligns with the version of me who handles millions calmly? It might be reading instead of scrolling, saving instead of spending impulsively, studying instead of complaining, building instead of reacting. Small behaviors repeated under regulation create exponential difference. The 99% chases intensity. The 1% cultivates consistency. And here is something even deeper. You are not trying to become better than. You are becoming capable of more. Capability attracts responsibility. Responsibility attracts resources. Resources amplify influence. But if influence arrives before maturity, destruction follows. This is why your path feels slower than others at times. You are being structured, you are being stabilized, you are being refined. The masses will not understand this refinement. They will mistake your restraint for hesitation, your patience for passivity, your silence for lack of ambition. Let them misunderstand. True expansion often looks quiet in its early stages. The financial frequency shift is not loud. It is disciplined. It is measured. It is deliberate. When you begin thinking in terms of systems rather than paychecks, you move differently. When you calculate opportunity cost instead of emotional comfort, you decide differently. When you focus on assets that produce rather than expenses that impress, you build differently. And something inside you already resonates with this. That is why this message feels familiar, not foreign, because you were never meant to operate from scarcity. You were meant to operate from structure. Structure leads to stability. Stability leads to scale. Scale leads to legacy. And legacy is not ego, it is continuity. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." This is not just financial inheritance, it is mindset inheritance, discipline inheritance, emotional regulation inheritance. Chosen one. The 1% is not merely those who possess wealth. It is those who possess composure. And composure begins in breath, in spine, in awareness, in deliberate thought. This Sunday, you are not joining a club. You are choosing an identity. You are choosing regulation over reaction, structure over chaos, long-term over immediate impulse. And when that choice stabilizes in your nervous system, your financial behavior will naturally shift. The next part will go deeper into leverage, how time, attention, and networks multiply when directed correctly, and how most people unknowingly leak energy that could have been capital. Stay steady. You are expanding. The transmission continues. Chosen one. This is where everything converges, not in noise, not in spectacle, but in clarity. You now understand that the 1% is not a lottery. It is not a fantasy. It is not a sudden miracle detached from effort. It is a structured identity, a regulated nervous system, a disciplined mind, a stabilized heart, a long-term vision anchored in responsibility. This Sunday was never about a calendar event. It was about a decision threshold. And here is the truth most people never articulate. The 1% is defined less by what they earn and more by what they refuse to tolerate. They refuse emotional chaos. They refuse impulsive distractions. They refuse low-level thinking. They refuse victim narratives. They refuse stagnation. But they do not refuse growth. They lean into growth even when it stretches them. And growth always stretches the spine before it expands the bank account. You have already felt this stretch. The discomfort of outgrowing old habits, the tension of stepping away from small thinking, the quiet loneliness that comes when your priorities change. That loneliness is not punishment. It is recalibration. Isaiah 48:10 says, "I have refined you. I have tested you in the furnace." Refinement is not rejection, it is preparation. Metal must endure heat to increase strength. Character must endure pressure to increase capacity. You were not delayed, you were developed. And now we speak about leverage, the force multiplier of the 1%. Leverage is misunderstood by most. They think leverage means debt, or risk, or manipulation. True leverage begins with clarity. Clarity of time, clarity of skill, clarity of focus. The 1% multiplies through systems, not exhaustion. They build assets that operate without constant emotional involvement. They invest in knowledge that compounds. They surround themselves with networks that expand perspective. They delegate what drains them. They protect what fuels them. And here is the deeper layer. They understand that attention is sacred. If you leak attention into drama, comparison, outrage, distraction, you are leaking capital. Energy precedes income. Where your energy flows consistently, results accumulate. Galatians 6:7 says, "Whatever a person sows, that shall they also reap." This is a universal law beyond religion. Sow distraction, reap stagnation. Sow discipline, reap expansion. Now we seal this transmission with the final sacred process. It is called the Steward's Declaration. Stand upright tonight or tomorrow morning. Feet grounded, spine aligned, shoulders relaxed. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly 3 times. Then speak out loud. I am a responsible steward of greater capacity. I do not chase wealth for validation. I build wealth to expand impact. I regulate my emotions. I sharpen my skills. I protect my attention. I choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. Say it slowly, not dramatically, not emotionally, steadily, because the 1% does not perform, they embody. Chosen one, there is no need to announce your shift. There is no need to prove anything to anyone. There is no need to explain your discipline. Most people will not understand this path, and that is fine. You are not separating from people. You are separating from patterns, patterns of consumption, patterns of fear, patterns of mediocrity. And as those patterns fall away, new patterns stabilize. Consistent investing, skill expansion, strategic patience, measured risk, intentional rest, focused action. You are not trying to appear wealthy. You are building the internal architecture that can sustain wealth without corruption, because money without structure destroys, but money with structure transforms. And here is the final mirror effect truth. The moment you fully accept responsibility for your financial growth, excuses lose power, blame loses power, comparison loses power, doubt loses volume. Responsibility is heavy at first, but it becomes freedom. Freedom to choose where you invest time, freedom to choose what you build, freedom to support others, freedom to create legacy. This is not about joining an elite class for ego. It is about joining a disciplined class for impact. The 1% mindset is not superiority, it is stewardship, and stewardship requires calm, clarity, consistency. The world does not need reckless wealth. It needs regulated minds with resources. And if this message resonated, it is not because you are better, it is because you are ready to think differently, ready to regulate differently, ready to build differently, ready to endure refinement, ready to stretch capacity. This Sunday was symbolic, but the real shift begins every morning when you wake up and choose discipline over distraction. Every investment you make in skill, every impulse you resist, every book you read, every calculated risk you assess, every system you build. These are not small actions. They are identity statements, and identity, when repeated, becomes destiny. So breathe deeply now. Feel your spine straighten. Feel your heart slow. Feel your mind clear. You are not chasing the 1%. You are building the structure that naturally belongs there. Calm, focused, responsible, intentional. The transmission ends here. The discipline begins with you.